Hello and welcome to PAO Fans International podcast. It is the American team today. Is just me and Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
Good, Antoni. Nice to see you. New Year. Happy New Year, by the way. And Happy New Year to everyone. California.
Perfect. Yeah, happy New Year to you as well, man. I feel like it's been a minute since we've been on the podcast, but a lot to talk about today. We have a lot of stuff on the schedule for Panathinaikos FC. Panathinaikos BC, of course, has some news as well. So let's just kind of kick it off. So we had our first game of 2026 yesterday. Panathinaikos, Panseriakos 3-0 for us, for the home team. Game started off with a goal early on, penalty. Ended up being Juricic who struck the ball. Goalkeeper ended up saving it, but he got the rebound. Juricic got the rebound and shot it in, made it 1-0. Then we got another penalty, I think around the 15th minute or so. Zaruri of all players, which is kind of surprising. He took the penalty, 2-0. And then finally to cap it off, it was Yedvai who headed the ball in for the 3-0. Definitely was a bit of a eventful game in terms of the score sheet, but also shots on target, shots taken. I'm happy to just start off 2026 with a win, especially a 3-0 win. You'll take that any day of the week, of course. We had a good amount of possession, 60 to 40%. Um, and overall, I feel like our game wasn't too alarming in this sense. Panseriakos had a penalty themselves, got rescinded, ended up getting a red card, and we saw them out. It also helped that our rivals, I believe it was Ike, dropped points yesterday as well. So kind of making a little bit of a dent towards the table there. Um, Alex, how did you see the game? What kind of stood out to you the most from our first game in 2026?
Yeah, there was a couple of things actually. I mean, the scoreline suggests that there was a couple of things, but I think, against Panathinaikos, you might expect not so many talking points, but there were quite a bit. I think, right off the bat, we had, some important players return from injury, some guys who we thought were dead come back alive, which was really nice to see. Pelistri, who was quite good. I think he was one of the best on the pitch. Pelistri coming back from injury, really good to see him. Really good to see him put in a good shift. Renato Sanchez come off the bench. He was well dead, came back. All right. He wasn't as impactful, obviously, as Pelistri, but good to see him back on the pitch and hopefully he works back up and hopefully he doesn't get injured again. Kind of a big ask, but we'll see how that one goes. Um, Anybody else who came back from injury? I think those were the main two. Oh, Kyriakopoulos also. Okay, yeah, Kyriakopoulos. Um, also came off the bench, which is really good. So those were a trio of returnees. Um, and then we had some other new faces like Tete leading the attack, which was, I guess refreshing. I think he put in a pretty good first game. Um, he was very active, very mobile. Yeah, just happy to see him kind of slot right in because he's probably gonna play a pretty big role now with Desser's injured. So we get a little into that down the road. But yeah, the returning players from injury that they now, actually about the game, you mentioned that early penalty, that early goal. I think that was huge to not get kind of sucked back into low block what's the word I'm looking for? Low block. We've seen that time and time again, and we've seen games drag on 60th minute, 70th minute, 0-0, can't break them down, frustrating. Players get frustrated, fans get frustrated, everyone gets frustrated, and then it just kind of slowly crawls toward the 80, 85th minute, 90th minute, and we're stuck in that rut. We can't break that rut. So that early goal was huge to just loosen up everybody, loosen up the fans and the players. I know there weren't many fans in the stadium, but even us just sitting on the couch, loosen up everybody and make it kind of routine by halftime. The game was, kind of hammered home. So really good. really good way to start the year, but also a really good way to start that specific game because it set the tone for the rest of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, Alex, because that's something I forgot to mention as well. Getting a 3-0 win over Cetis, I mean, in years past, we've seen it's actually kind of tough to play them. More so, I guess, away than it is home, but they're just one of those low block teams that we always bring up whenever we play a team like that where we'll tend to struggle. But yesterday, again, that early penalty helped out, right? Kind of opened the game up a little bit. Ended up getting 3-0 on the score sheet. You can't complain. You really can't complain. I was really impressed with the fact that we shot the ball so many times and we actually had, I think we had 11 shots on target. I think a big issue for me before the break was that the team tended to struggle with, like, I don't want to say creating chances, but they in a sense kind of struggled to at least shoot the ball at times. That was a big complaint of mine. So seeing that against Ceres was nice. Again, it's first game, 2026, January. This team is kind of funny with like their mentality. Like I feel like sometimes they get a fresh start and then they come out with something big and then like 2, 3 weeks down the line, things get a little bit redundant and we start to see our old patterns come back. So I'm curious to see with kind of a busy schedule coming up if we're going to see a continuation of what we saw yesterday or if we're going to kind of see maybe a slip back into old patterns. Um, Overall, I'm looking at the table. We're 6 points behind Levadiakos. Still, I think with a game in hand from our game earlier in the season. So we have a chance to kind of cut that gap down a little bit as we kind of proceed through. But um, I don't know, man. It's something I can't complain about. I don't think I saw too many fans on Twitter complaining too much. They usually love to complain, but a 3-0 win again is a 3-0 win. Um, that day I just kind of wanted to talk on a little bit. I think now with Dessers being out, and you brought it up as well with like his play style being almost similar yesterday to like a Foti in a sense. It's almost kind of like in my mind, I'm making him to be kind of like the new like face. I know it's early. I know it's just one
Yeah.
game, but he's Greek. He's born in the area. Um, he's young. He's kind of got the hype around him. If you've seen on socials, like all over Instagram, the FC is like posting interviews with him like every single day. I'm kind of starting to get this like hype around him, which I think is great. Like we saw Padelidi come in, we saw him come in. This kind of Greek face. I don't know. I think things are gonna hopefully fall into place, and we'll have like this new face. I just hope we don't do a 180 on him when things go bad. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because, there was aspects. Yeah, like I did mention you the Foti comp, and I'm not trying to like blow it out of proportion. It's very early days, but there were some positive similarities that I saw, like very mobile. Which again, I mostly went into him, and I knew a little bit about him, and we've obviously seen him play a little bit because he's from within the league. But I tried to go mostly in like clean slate, make a make a judgment now that he's on the team, new system and all that. And he was very mobile. Like you saw him a lot on the wings, rather than just like sitting in the box, like, you know, kind of classic nine. He was more of that kind of creating, going to get the ball, making something happen. He had a couple dribbles that beating players. So really nice mobile forward that's not just sitting in the box, um, and seems to have a decent skill set rather than just a one kind of technical type of player. Um, and yes, in terms of like the hype building around him, I think the hype is good and cool and probably warranted too because he also seems like a cool personality, like you said, like from the videos on the socials we're getting a glimpse of like kind of him as a person, and he seems like a cool personality. um and he's young, like you said, so like building kind of him being, if not the face, part of the face of kind of the near future, down the road, years to come, um could be really good and nice, especially hopefully with the stadium coming around. And he's Greek, like you said, from the area, so a lot of pluses around him.
Yeah, 100%. And I know that this signing was Alafuzos' signing, I think before we got Corona. But it still kind of plays into the fact that you know, he or Corona and the team in essence, they're trying to build like this Greek core around it. So it's just nice to see, that Day is kind of this young up and comer. He's got a lot of hype around him. And like you mentioned, he seems like a humble guy. Like that's the kind of stuff that it can actually make a difference in a team. Again, I don't personally know the guy, but just from what we get from the videos we've seen of him, how he kind of interacts with his teammates on the pitch, good to kind of see that the guy's got it looks like a good head on his shoulder. He's not going to come in like some, pompous guy. So here's hoping, it continues to build from there. And we'll kind of see in the coming future, what it kind of beholds for us. Um, let's see here. I think another thing that really, I guess not surprising, but kind of we didn't expect was Pandelidi like all of a sudden joining us early on as well. I think he was supposed to come in June, ended up coming in now along with Tete, and I think that's also going to kind of help. We already have these two guys that have chemistry from their old club. Again, another Greek, only positives.
Yeah, so I believe this was like a direct answer to the fact that the other Tete, not Tete, but Tete, was gonna leave and actually has left. I think yesterday was it became official. So he went to Gremio. Um, the number is I think it's 6.5 mil. I think there was some people that were saying it was going to be 7.5, but I think it ended up being 6.5. Either way, 6.57, 7.5. It's in that 6.5 to 7.5 range. Um, to Gremio. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, 6.5 million when I saw it, because I saw that figure earlier today. 6.5 million, I think, is solid business. Personally, for me, Tete, after Rui was let go, I felt like Tete kind of like he wasn't fully there. Like I was kind of a critic of his. I just wasn't a fan of like the body language on the pitch. He put in decent performances, especially when Rafa first came in. Like, he wasn't bad per se, but you can kind of tell, like, I feel like he was a little bit checked out. So the amount of money that we got, I can't complain about. Number two, I think the guy just wanted to go back home to Brazil. Better, to have a guy that wants to be on the team. He posted, I think, like a week or two ago, a picture with a Gremio jersey, kind of really trying to force and push the move. So, yeah, if he had stayed, I think it would have been more negative than good. But the Levy, of course, talent-wise, I don't think he's on the same level, of course, as Tete, even though he plays on the left. I think he can switch sides at least, but at least Padelidi, again, he's a Greek player. He's got some familiarity with Tete from Kifisia. And again, it's I don't know. I think for now for the league, Padelidi will be fine. He's has a good track record. And then getting rid of Tete again, I can't complain too much. It's a positive for me. I
Yeah.
think for all parties.
Yeah, the way I feel about Tete, and we're gonna get into the actual transfers later. The only reason I brought this up now is because the Padalides Tete is like a direct like for like swap basically, and why we expedited that signing. But the way I feel about Tete is like he was very hit and miss in nature. Like he would have some games where he looked like, a really quality winger, like could be like a, top five league winger. And then there was other games where, he's completely missing. So just very hit and miss, lacking consistency, which is not unusual for this level. Like we see it a lot at this level. So he's not unique in that sense. But where I feel like it becomes important with this signing is that like if you could sell this hit or miss type player for a profit ultimately from what you bought him a couple of years ago, because we bought him for what was it, 3.5, 4.5, something like that. So if you could, flip him for a profit just a year plus after you brought him in, and he's so hit or miss, I feel like you pulled the trigger, right? Like, because you don't know what his form is going to be in 6 months. He's this inconsistent type of player. You don't know. So, making a 2 million-ish profit on that type of player feels pretty good. On the flip side, for what it's worth, his market value on transfer market is 11 million. So, how do they come up with those figures? I'm not trying to put too much weight in it, but you see that and you're like, was it a mistake? But ultimately, I think it was the right move. I don't think those figures are particularly accurate. It said his market value was 10 million when we brought him in, and we obviously did not pay anywhere close to that. So don't think there's too much weight in that. Good piece of business. You know, he was good, and I think he enjoyed his time here for the short while. But it's been said also multiple times that he doesn't stay long at clubs.
Right.
His tenures at clubs are about that 1 year, maybe 1+ years. So he had reached about that limit, and he made a switch and he wanted to go home. And he'll probably stay home for the rest of his career because he's done the Europe thing. He was at Leicester, he was at Shakhtar, he was at Fenerbahce. He was in Greece with us, and now he's returned home. So that's probably where he ultimately wanted to be, like you said, holding up the jersey, all that.
Yeah, kind of like a full circle moment for him. I think he started off, or he was a fan of Gremio. He posted a picture today on his story of when he was a
I
kid.
think youth team. I think also he
Yeah,
never. I
that's
don't
right.
think he ever made an appearance at senior level, but I think he was also youth team.
Yeah, yeah, and typically from what I've noticed, like I think Brazilian players, I think he's like 28 or something like that. I think
Oh, he's
Brazilian players.
25. He's
Oh, he's
25.
25. Oh,
Still,
so
he's
he's
still
yeah.
young. He's still young. He came to us like 23, 24,
Oh
and like
shoot.
it felt like he was older because like he'd had that stint with Leicester when he was like
Yeah.
pretty young. I don't think he was 18 with Leicester, but he was probably like around 20 with Leicester.
Yeah.
And he's been in Europe for, quite a bit.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he played in Turkey, played for Shakhtar as well. So he played for some decent teams as well. Like yeah, he
Yeah.
he actually came in. I was super hyped about him. Okay, yeah, I mean at
He
25.
played for he played for teams that like buy into that upside youth talent, right? Like
Yeah.
Leicester, we saw like obviously very famously, flipped a lot of players for a good profit. Shakhtar is notorious for that, notorious, especially with Brazilians. Shakhtar is
Oh yeah.
notorious. Fenerbahce a little less in that, kind of upside selling business, but Leicester and Shakhtar specifically. So there were teams that clearly saw something in him, and it just
Right.
never panned out. It never panned out, and he's still young, so he could still have a good, uh, you know, Brazilian career. But like that upside that Leicester and Shakhtar were buying into just didn't pan out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that definitely was like a big part of it. And I think him going back to Brazil at 25 years old, like he could, if like you said as well, if he wants to, if he balls out over there, he can come back to Europe again and probably, you know, do whatever it is he wants. But yeah, I mean, to sum it all up, again, I think everybody wins. He wanted to go home. I think us as fans, were like not too upset about him leaving as well. I think us having Pelistri back and hopefully him staying healthy will be a big help for us. Because I think Pelistri's natural position was on the right, wasn't it? And he was playing on the left
Yeah,
because of Tete.
yeah. So that's big. And Padalides is left. Yeah, I think you
He's
said he's
left,
left
yeah.
primary.
He's left but
Um,
switches, I think.
what is his foot? He's His foot is right. His foot is right. So
Okay.
based on just inverted winger being the default, I mean, I don't know. Is inverted winger the default? I don't know. Palistri's is right and he plays on the right, so kind of depends for
Yeah.
the coach. But I would assume that it's Palistri's position now, the right, and it's mostly Padelides is going to back up Pelistri on the right, I would say,
Right.
and it's probably Zari's job to lose on the left unless we make a signing, which we'll get to down the road.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So we're starting to see some of the puzzle pieces moving now. I think like now that we're in January, we've had a couple sales. We had a couple guys come in. I think now we're gonna start to slowly see Rafa's and Corona's kind of like mark on the team, and to be fair to Cotzolius too. We're starting to kind of, I think, slowly see like the unraveling a little bit of the plan, and kind of like the direction that this team is gonna go in. Again, it helps that we won 3-0. I'm just kind of going into this next week or the rest of the games coming up, but especially like with Wednesday and Saturday or Wednesday and Sunday coming up. Just to be patient because like I know that this team still has holes in it. And as typical Panathinaikos fans on Twitter and stuff, we're gonna see like blow ups. If we lose against Ike or whoever. But the good thing is like we're starting to see again some movement towards the direction. And we're gonna get into like some of the transfers like we mentioned a little bit. Um, let's see here. So we have a couple important games coming up. So we have the Cup game this coming Wednesday on the 14th against Aris. And then we have on Sunday a huge Athenian derby against Ike, who are okay, they're in third place. My table at first second showed them in first place. So third place, Ike, still a huge game for us. Panathinaikos Aris, of course, a big game for us in the Cup. So it looks like the cup game we're gonna be at home, and the news is that we're gonna be playing at Owaka, because Leoforos is getting the grass redone or something like that.
Dude,
So
I feel like I don't I don't know. I don't follow any other club teams, but as closely as this team, obviously. But I feel like we're always redoing the fucking grass at Leo Photos. Like, is this a normal amount? Like, I that's why I said I genuinely don't know. I don't have like, hey, I follow this other team every day to know, but like listen, I know it's an old stadium, but like are is it's like at least once a year, it feels like. And like that cannot be financially decent for whoever's paying for it. We know who's paying for it, but like that cannot be financially sound to be replacing fucking grass every year. That is just my opinion. Maybe that's the standard. I don't know.
dude, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And the thing is, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the guy that keeps up with all the teams, but I kind of keep like a rough idea of what's going on. Ike, granted, has a brand new stadium. I never see Ike have to like, oh, on Wednesday we're gonna play somewhere else. We're gonna borrow Atromitos' stadium to play, or Olympiacos or PAOK. This to me is another like advertisement, quote unquote, of why we need to leave this stadium. I know that it has a lot of history and the fans are gonna get mad, but one week it's the grass. The next week they have to redo the seats. Another week the toilets aren't working. It's like, dude, there's always something going on with this like 100-year-old
Yeah.
stadium. It's old now, historic of course, but dude, this is the only team that I see have this problem. Maybe a team from the Joryo might have the same issue, but it doesn't make sense. So we're going to be playing in Oaxaca. Of course, it's going to be empty. It's a midweek game, cup game. Fans typically during the week don't even really come to the European games.
Oaxaca's in its own shithole. So
Yeah,
you could
it's a
see
ghost town.
the whole backdrop is under construction. We got a nice to the left of the screen, we got the nice rusty bin. All the seats are covered with like, poop colored tarp. So it's, really nice scene overall.
Yeah, the typical, yeah, what else can we say? Those of us, obviously, if we're listening to this podcast, we watch Panathinaikos, we watch the Greek league. This is normal, but, in other leagues, it's definitely not normal, but this is just how it is, right? The one thing, at least our stadium, again, it's outdoors, right? It's football, but at least we don't have leaks and stuff and tarps hanging over and trying to fix the leaks that way, like some other team. But dude, yeah, you only see this in Greece, maybe in other Balkan leagues as well, but Greece is like a
Oh yeah, this
special
is this is
place.
this is this is Balkan 101 for sure. For sure.
Yeah, man. So again, we'll be at Oaxaca. Again, I'm interested to see what we go with. Because again, we just had the game yesterday. But the squad isn't necessarily the fullest either. We do have some holes. Um, Cup, I think, makes, like we've discussed before, makes our road towards Europe a little bit easier. So I am curious to see what Rafa's gonna go with. I'm sure. I think is Swiderski suspended for this one. I can't remember.
Oh, that you're going back now. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, for some reason in my head, I think he got a card, or maybe that's Europe. I think he's suspended for a European game.
Hmm.
For
I don't
accumulation
know.
of
Yeah.
yellows, I think. So if he's not, I think we'll see him. Striker's first thing that came to mind. I'm forgetting who started in goal yesterday. Was it Chavez or
It
was
was
it
it was it was Kotsaris.
Kotsaris?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's gonna. rotate Kotsaris. See, I've personally been pretty like happy with Kotsaris.
Yeah, the Chav. So yes, Lucas Chavez comes in from Panetolikos. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted about Chavez. And I know a lot of good stuff has, I think, been circulating around him. So I'm not trying to be negative about him. Um, it's a very low stakes signing. Loan until the end of the season. Obviously, now we're getting a little mixed up, but Dragowski leaves today. He goes back to Poland. So someone needs to replace him. Lucas Chavez replaces him from Panetolikos, loan, and until the end of the season. Low stakes, like I said. Now our three keepers are Lafon, Kotsaris, and Chavez. The way I feel about Chavez in general, and then I could get specifically to the game on Wednesday, is that I Kotsaris has impressed me, like you said, and I don't really want Chavez to take playing time away from Kotsaris because he's Greek, he's young. There's just a lot more. He's permanently on the team rather than temporary, so he just has a lot more importance, I think, both I mainly in the long term, but I think also hopefully in the short term. So I don't really want Chavez to take playing time away from him. I think I would be most happy with a hierarchy of Lafon, Kotsaris, and Chavez in a general sense. Um, Again, that's nothing against Chavez, but that's more of a testament to how much Kotsaris has impressed me and kind of, our want to become younger, our need to become younger and promote the Greek talent and not take playing time away from them. So that's just my hope. That's my general hope that Kotari still gets those kind of that number two role. For Wednesday, I would go Kotsaris. I would. He's impressed me. I would not take him out of the lineup. He's been the freshest goalie over the last month. Obviously, Lafon left us about mid-December, and Kotsaris has played every single game from that point. Even before that, because Lafon was injured or something. Kotsaris has played basically almost every game, I think, since the beginning of December. But regardless, in the last 2 to 4 weeks, he's been the primary goalie and I wouldn't change that. He's the freshest, he's the sharpest, and he hasn't done anything to warrant being taken out. So I'd keep him in tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a fan of his. His first, I think, was his first game, first or second game was against PAOK, I think. We
Yeah.
lost, granted, but I mean, even my papa was a huge PAOK fan, and he was even impressed with Kotsaris. I mean, he was saying like, he prevented a couple more goals. So again, like you said, he's Greek, he's young, he's fresh. One hope that I do have is Kotsolis is on the team. Former goalkeeper for us for years was the backup goalkeeper. Not that this really like has any true significance, but maybe it plays a role. Maybe he'll kind of have like a say of like, hey, hopefully this guy will be our second choice for the time being. Lafon is back, I think, after Ivory Coast got knocked out. So he's back. I agree. He's
Oh,
probably the
he
first.
is back?
Yeah, I think they got knocked out. So he
Okay.
should be back this. If he's not back today, I think I read that he's gonna be back this week.
Okay.
So we have our three again. For me, Chavez is the obvious third choice. Not that he's bad, like you said, but hierarchically, right? I think Kotsadis fits that Greek kind of mark that we're after. He's pretty young, and he's impressed, in my opinion. He's not had a bunch of blunders or things like that. So Lafon again is kind of experience wise, you would go with him number one, I guess. Gotzaris second, and then Chavez just because he's a lone guy until June, July. To me, that's obvious, and I would keep him in goal. With Cup coming, I don't know what Rafa's thinking, what his logic's gonna be. Um, but yeah,
This game on Wednesday is more important than the game at the weekend. This is more important. I think we all agree on that, and I think we've talked about kind of, and you mentioned it a couple minutes ago, just where the season is going and what the cup means for us, rather than what the league doesn't mean for us, because you know where we stand. Like, let's just put it where it is. We are 13 points behind Ajax. in the league. Okay, we have a game in hand. So say we're 10 points behind Ajax. Okay, if we win, we're 7 points behind Ajax, and that's something. But we're also away here, and we know how it is in near Philadelphia for us since that opened up. So I'm not, not I don't want to be a pessimist, but I'm not banking on the win. We know how things go, and we know Dabanovic and all that bullshit that's happened in the past. So I'm not banking on a win. I'm not ready to say that we're going to be 7 points behind Ajax, come Sunday after Sunday, but if that does happen, 7 points is, kind of a big deal based on where we are. But the midweek game is just crucial because of the cup. And I know it's a lot to ask. Like, there's a lot of good teams competing in the cup. It's obviously the top five, and Olympiacos, by the way, who are a surprise team, are still in it. So there's
Yeah.
really six teams chasing this one cup. It's not easy, six teams for one trophy, for one final spot is not great odds. And you are probably, you're not in the top three of those six teams either on paper. We know who the top three are, and it's the top three who sit in the table. It's Olympiacos, PAOK, and AEK. So it's not an easy thing to ask to win the cup, but that's what we need to give ourselves the best chance to succeed in Europe next year. You win the cup, you start from Europa League qualifying. You know, that's a big
Yeah.
deal. You don't win the cup, we're starting from Conference League qualifying based on where we're going to finish in the league, which is probably going to be max fourth, but 4 to 6 was probably where we're looking. It's a big difference.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. Like you said, it is a big ask as well. With us just trying to fight. It's like, at what point do you look at like where our priorities are? Like you said, if we win against Ike and we win that game in hand, all of a sudden we're, within 7 points with playoffs eventually coming as well. So, obviously we're not saying that we're gonna win the title or anything like that if we start catching up, but our positions on the table is gonna make a little bit of a difference. Yeah, looking at Arias's form, just in the league. I'm not looking at the cup. Their league form. They've gotten a couple wins in their last five. Same with us. We've had two wins in our last five with two losses and a draw. They've had two losses, or sorry, they've had two draws and a loss. So, they most recently drew over the weekend. So we're
Against
starting
AEK,
against Ike. That's right.
ironically. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So again,
So
that's a pretty big result for them, right? For
and
Aris.
apparently I got bailed out. I don't know. That's
Uh,
just kind of what I think was being said, but again, I can't firmly say that because that's not what I saw.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Whether they got bailed out or not, they drew. They drew. I mean, Addis is Addis,
Yeah.
and they're going to be playing basically in a neutral ground, and it's a one game. It's a one game leg, so it's not no home or away. We theoretically should have the we theoretically have the home field because of where we finished in that league table for the knockout for the cup, the new format.
Right.
So we technically have the better situation being home in a one leg game, but the Oaxaca situation is the Oaxaca situation.
Yeah, Oaxaca is going to be covered in blankets without instead of fans. So it's going to be like, yeah, we'll see. Well, again, we have the advantage it's in Athens, right? The team doesn't have to travel or anything like that. But yeah, to get a draw against Ike, I mean, Ike's been in good form ever since they beat us. The last time yeah, their form has
Yeah,
been really good. So
and they're beating up on teams in Europe too. I know they're in
yeah,
Conference League, but they're beating up on teams, so they're not. The top of the table, the top of the league table is 39, 38, 38. So
hmm
it's anyone's league in terms of the top three, and one of those teams is Ajax. So, like you said, Addis holding their own against the one of the three title contenders is something.
yeah, 100%. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see how Rafa's gonna line up against Aris.
You gotta keep Polistria in. I know it's a quick turnaround, but like the impact he made immediately just too important, especially now with Tete gone, like especially now. But you could see the impact that he made immediately. Just one game back, still getting his footing, getting warmed up a little bit back to the first team action. But you got to keep him in. But then you're faced with a question like, if he plays on Wednesday, is he sitting on Sunday? Because that would be
Yeah.
3 games within 7, 8 days.
It's a lot.
So that's he's probably coming off the bench in one of these two next games
Hmm.
because you also can't run him into the ground, right? He's just
No.
coming back from injury. You can't run him into the ground. So realistically, he is going to come off the bench in one of these two games, and Rafa's going to have to decide which one. And based on kind of what we're saying in terms of like what competitions are more important to us, he probably should start Wednesday and come off the bench against Ajax.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too mad at that. And we've said it before. Pelistri, Pelistri before the injury as well, like super impactful player. Like you can tell how much he changes the game just being in there. He's a hustler. He can dribble the ball. He creates dangerous chances. If he can stay healthy, let's pray he stays healthy. It's almost like we're adding another additional winter transfer with Pelistri being into this team with Rafa. So again, just based on order of importance, like you mentioned, I would probably prefer seeing him start against Aris instead of against Ike. Ike's gonna be a mountain to climb, no matter what. They're the better team than us right now. They're in much better form. Derbies are derbies, but again, we're gonna be playing away, and I don't think we've won a game there yet in their new stadium, have we?
No, I don't think we have. No.
So odds are really stacked against us, and it's like, do you want to risk the chance of injuring Pelistri, like you're saying? No, I'd rather just play him against Aris, and then have that impact there. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious. I'm excited for this game against Aris. Kind of gives us another viewpoint into what Rafa's plans are, how the team's going to kind of shape up a little bit, and then again, hopefully we'll see some other guys. Let's see here. Ike we covered. Aris we covered. Did you
Well,
want to add
there's
in anything?
also something I just remembered. There's also the requirement in the cup for the homegrown players, isn't there?
Oh, you're right.
So because of that, maybe Bocos gets the
Bocos.
start.
Yeah, we might
Maybe
see
Bocos
Bocos.
maybe Bocos gets the start and Polistri comes off the bench and then Polistri starts against Ajax. Maybe.
That's
Maybe. Because
possible.
what
Yeah.
what is it two? Is it two players in the starting 11 homegrown?
I think it's two homegrown players.
Yes. So that would be Fikai and Bocos, right?
Yeah, where did we get Quetzadis from?
Or did no, who left? Wait, now I'm
Oh, because yes, we sent somebody to
Fikai
Kifisia.
left, right? Fikai left, didn't he?
I think we sent
No,
him to
Fikai say
Kifisia.
who do we send to Kifisia? Oh God.
Oh, was it Bregu?
Bregu, right?
Bregu's the one that we
Yes, yes,
swapped
yes.
for
Okay, yeah.
Padelivi.
Yes, 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 yes. Sorry. I was spooking myself. I was like, Fikai, like, no, no, no. Okay, so Fikai and Bocos
Bocos.
probably going to be the two homegrown players starting.
Quetzadis, Quetzadis is from our youth team too, it looks
Oh,
like.
Kotsaris. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's there's some playing that can be done, but may it's probably two of the three Kotsaris, Fikai, Bocos, right? Two of those three are gonna be. So he could still start Palistre if he wants to, but because of kind of the 3 games in a week, 3 games in 8 days situation, maybe he does choose to bring Palistre off the bench in this one, and he goes with Bocos and Kotsaris.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a puzzle of kind of figuring out what he's gonna do. But for anybody listening, that way we know we're not that surprised if we do see Boko starting and people are wondering what's going on there. There's that homegrown rule. I didn't realize Kotsadi's from one thing to I didn't realize he's 29. I thought he was like
Uh,
23.
Kotsaris is 29?
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, I didn't know that. Yeah, I looked up. I'm like, where did he play for youth? He's born in 96. Dude, I thought he was 23. Like I thought he was like a young up and coming keeper. That's crazy. I didn't realize that. he's had a career in Super League. Oh, and he played in Cyprus for a year too, but
What? Wow, I'm mind blown, man. That's
yeah, me
crazy.
too.
I would have said 24, 25, I think.
Yeah, I thought he was like 23, dude.
I knew he wasn't super young because he played for us in like 20. He was part of the team when the team was like not uh
During Donis.
it was like the yeah, it was like the Dhoni's where we went up against like we were fielding like ridiculous teams, and he was I remember him being part of those 11 sometimes. So I knew he wasn't too young because how young could he be if he was part of those teams, right? Like he couldn't
Right.
be like that young, but that's what, yeah, 29, I wouldn't. Wow. Okay. I mean, that kind of alters the stuff I said about the Chavez thing, then maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, I
s-
still like him.
I still like him, but I did think he was a little younger, so that
Me
kind of
too.
throws a wrench in it. But okay, all right,
Yeah. Interesting there. Yeah, I was kind of that
interesting.
caught me off guard when
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah, my mouth was just open. I was actually kind of
Yeah.
speechless.
That was yeah, I'm like,
Um,
oh shoot. Let's see.
okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
so
mean, then we got the left back issue. I mean,
yeah.
Coates played left back on Sunday, and he was fine. He did his work like he usually does. But it'll be interesting to see if Kyriakopoulos can start that game. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotsiras is looking like he's reminding me of Zeka a little bit. He's like the last like year or two, he's kind of like they just plug him in. Like
yeah,
he was playing defensive mid with Tareem, I think, at one point. Then,
yeah.
now we've seen him plugged in at left back. Um, Interesting stuff, man. I mean, like transfer wise, like they had said like a couple days ago, and I remember I think reading somewhere else that left back was like, a big priority for us, but I haven't seen any names. Maybe there's been names. I can't remember any names.
There's
Um,
been the few Spanish guys, La Liga guys, but that kind of fizzled out. That was more like 2-ish weeks ago, I think those names kind of popped up. So I don't know if anything's cooking there. It's gonna,
right.
we say like, these names kind of, the rumored names don't end up doing anything. It's the guys who come out of nowhere. But I
Yeah.
don't know. The left back situation is, well, Mladenovic is out of contract in the summer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's out of contract in the summer, so he's not going any, unless there's a termination now.
Right.
He's not going anywhere. So I think the only way that a left back comes in is if Mladenovic is terminated. I know he's been really bad, and he's had a few blunders and like directly has caused some penalties. So I'm not advocating for him, but I just think in terms of like looking at the squad list and it having to make sense, I think the only way we bring someone in is if he gets terminated,
Yeah.
which could happen, but it would have to be a termination because no one is picking up his contract with 6 months left.
Yeah. I saw a rumor actually like a couple weeks back when that it was a Serbian guy I think that we were like that left back. He was like 30. Um and-
Classic,
Literally, right? And that
classic.
was my exact thought. I'm like, we're getting rid of one like 33-year-old Serbian left back to bring in another one that we're going to replace next year. Like, so thank God I haven't seen anything else from that. I think that guy plays for Valencia or something. He played like I don't think he's played any games. Um, so I had read, and I don't know if it's true, that yeah, that we were gonna let Mladenovic go this window, which kind of surprised me. So like the only way I see that happening, of course, is if we have a backup already in place.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I haven't seen any names past that La Liga guy, that Serbian guy. Um, but we've seen like today and then recently. Let's talk about the one that's been dragging on a little bit first. The Andino guy, the Argentinian.
So that's the big one.
Yes,
And just to let's just recap real quick everything that's happened because it's been a couple weeks since. So
right,
Tete leaves to Gremio. Chavez comes in from Panetolikos for the keeper rotation. Dragowski leaves, like for like replacement. Chavez for um, Dragowski. Tete comes in. Tete leaves. We said Padelides comes in. like for like replacement ish. I know they're not on the same level, but like, winger leaves, winger comes in, expedited. Koduris is another one.
Uduric, yeah.
Center mid. Kind of some debate whether he's a six or an eight, but that center mid more holding rather than going forward. He comes in. That was actually like the very first one that happened, I think, back in like last year now, like the last few days of the year. And then also Tete, our new striker, comes in. We saw him on Sunday. Greek boy, Andreas Tete. Yeah. Okay, that
Yeah.
was the recap. That was the recap. Now we could talk about the big guy who's like you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no, no worries. I'm glad that you brought that up. And technically, like Dessers as well. I forgot to bring Dessers is out for 2 months.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
got
Dester's is
injured.
out
He got
at
injured at
AFCON.
AFCON.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tete kind of came in and he's him and Swiderski are gonna have to hold it down at striker
It's
for
now
a
it's
few
now
months.
it's Tete, Swiderski, and Padovic again.
Padovic.
Those
Yes, I
those
forgot about Padovic. Yeah.
back to three strikers, which it's good that we brought in Tete because he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna play a big role, and it's gonna be him and it's gonna be Tete and Swiderski mainly.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that all that recap there. The big name, like the big thing that's been kind of dragging on for like a week, has been this Andino guy, Argentinian guy. Lots of reports, right? You have Greek media, which is already like, yeah, it's Greek media, and then we have Argentinian media, which is also kind of like, not the best in the world either. So one side reports one thing, the other side's reporting the other. What we know is that Panathinaikos FC is making official offers, I guess, for Andino. And if this is correct, I think Andino wants to go to Europe, but the president, I think, or the GM of or technical director of the team he's on in Argentina, I think he wants to sell him to River Plate.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like really like complicated the situation. I think if the reports are right, Panathinaikos is offering more money than River is, and then we're like offering like today. I don't know if this is right. I saw something like 10 million. I saw something where it was like 10 million after we give like additional add-ons and percentages and stuff like that. Don't know how accurate that is, but I know that we're paying like it's over 7, right? We're
So this
offering.
this is this is this has been like so ridiculous, like as it usually is. But like I've actually tried to like I'm trying to pay attention for the sake of this conversation, but I'm trying to also not pay attention because like every day it's something fucking different, and you're
Yeah,
dealing with
yeah,
you're dealing with these people who are not serious. These are not serious people, and you
yeah,
can tell they're not serious people from the alleged prices that we're hearing. So one day only a couple of days ago, like over the weekend, maybe end of last week, you were hearing 4.5 mil for 70% of the rights, right? That was like, well, actually, even before that, and now this is just off of memory, but even before that, they were valuing him at about 14 million, I think, because we had, I think, allegedly put in an offer for 7 million or they were asking 7 million for 50%. They were asking 7 million for 50%, which is a valuation obviously of 14 million for 100%. That was like the one of the first things that we heard. Then a couple of days later, you hear 4.5 for 70%. Okay, that's a completely different valuation. That's allegedly what we came to them with. But then there was a report that they want 4.5 for 50%. So completely different than that 14 million valuation if those were true, but they're clearly not true. They're clearly complete bullshit because like you said, yesterday or today, they come out and say that I say the news comes out and says that there's an offer on the table for 10 plus million for 75%. So the valuations are all over the place. Everyone's bullshitting. Everyone's not serious. My advice is pay as little attention as possible because this is just like this is a soap opera. But anyway, yeah, the latest thing is that 10 plus million, I think it was like 10.2 for 75%, which is quite a bit of money. Quite a bit of money. That would be our most expensive transfer.
yeah. That would be insane. And we don't want to. I'm not saying that this guy's gonna flop or anything, but like we don't want to have another situation where we get hyped up and it ends up being a buzz. The guy's never played in Europe before.
Guy's
So
never played in Europe. He is young, which is really
he
good.
is.
So you are paying a little bit of a premium for that age, right? That age comes with a premium. 20 is a very good age. Like he's not 18, so he's not super, uh young, raw, yeah, super raw, but he's in kind of like that like good potential burst stage. So you are paying a premium for that, but you know, 10 mil for 75%, that's quite a bit. And not only would it be our most expensive transfer, but that's a big gamble, like you said. So
Yeah.
there's parts I like about it. Obviously, we're kind of in need of his primary position is left wing. We're kind of in need of left wings. Zari has been is weird because like he's actually like doing stuff now. Like there was a time in the beginning of the season where he wasn't doing anything. He had that hat trick in Europa League, but like other than that, he was not doing anything. Now he's doing stuff. Like he's getting on the score sheet, assists. Um, he had an assist at the weekend, and he scored obviously from the penalty. So goal and assist, but he's not blowing anybody away, I wouldn't say. Again, I don't think he's been bad, but just not blowing anyone away. So earlier we said like it's his job to lose on the left, but mostly because he doesn't have any competition right now. If
Right.
Andino comes in and he has competition and you just paid 10 million for this guy, well, Andino becomes the left wing. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's tricky. It's tricky. Like it's a risk. We have the money now. I mean, look, we got almost 7 million from for the transfer. We sold Dragovski. I think we got off of the money on his contract. I think he was on a pretty decent contract.
Hey, and Flotti and Vaya,
40 Valladolid. That's
we
right.
were complaining in the summer that that money didn't seem to get reinvested, and
Yeah.
like we didn't make any big transfers
What
or
about Desters?
many small transfers. Yeah. But
Yeah.
Destros was like what, 3.5 million? Something like
Yeah,
that,
I
right?
think he was 5.
Five? Okay,
But
whatever.
anyway,
But
we
we
still have money
we got
left
almost
over.
30 mil from the other two guys.
Yeah.
So we were complaining that that money never got reinvested. Is this the reinvestment? Listen,
Mhm.
I think it could be. It could be, and it could
Yeah.
be a great investment because of that age that we were talking about.
Yeah.
But you want the most rights possible because you don't want to, if you're viewing it as a reinvestment or just let's say an investment, which I'm sure they are, especially now with like the better structural hierarchy of our overhead with Corona and Baldini and uh
Cocholis.
Cocholis, who's not involved in this because he's more domestic, but
True. Yeah.
with all those guys, they're definitely viewing this Andino situation as an investment because of his age. So they're definitely trying to get that percent down or up, whichever way you're looking at it, the owned rights up. Like they definitely want, minimum 75%, I would say. But that's
Yeah.
gonna raise the price tag, the upfront money. If we want like say 90% of the rights, we're probably looking at 12, $13.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does tie in to what Baldini was saying, which was if you remember, he said we're gonna make splashes on like on a couple really good foreigners, and then we're gonna build the squad out with solid Greek players from the Greek league. So we've seen Pandelidis get added in. We saw that they get added in. We've gotten the guy, the center mid that we just mentioned, the Greek one. Um,
Koduris.
Kouduris, there we go. We added him in as well. So now it's like, okay, if we can fill out the left wing with Andino and we've got Pelistri on the right, we got two really good South American players there on the wing. We got the money for it. It's definitely available. My only thing, I have to watch like highlights on him. Of course, anybody looks good on the highlights, but I'm only just a little bit worried in the fact that he hasn't played in Europe. And I look at Taborda as our last, like we spent like what, 4.5 million. Again, the guy is not supposed to be touted as good as Andino is. Um, but he hadn't played in Europe before. A lot of the guys that we've had, like the South American players that we've had, that have played in Europe before have tended to work out. But if you look at some of the others, I'm not gonna label Taborda a bust, but I'm just gonna say like right now it's not really looking good. It hasn't looked too good. Taborda so far it looks like he's been struggling. If you remember Andres Chavez, the guy that we got from Boca Juniors, his first time in Europe was with us. He abandoned the team or left or whatever that whole situation was. We had Vital, that Brazilian. We were the first team
Yep.
that he played for us. So it's like, these guys, if they come and we're the first team, albeit it's a bit of a ride to for Panathinaikos to be your first team in Europe because we're not necessarily run uh, the most efficiently, I would say. Um,
Right.
but it hasn't worked out. So I'm hoping that with this Andino, I trust Rafa, I trust Corona, that the guy he's good. I just hope that if we do get it, we spend that kind of cash that he is able to acclimate and can adjust to the European game. Because again, Argentina, it's a solid league, but it's not at the same level. If you watch Brazilian or Argentinian league, it's not really. I feel like the defense, especially in like Balkan leagues, are a little tougher. So it'd be interesting just to see how he kind of adjusts to Europe.
I'm kind of confused here because I was just looking. I didn't do this before. I should have, but kind of looking at his recent games, and there's a it's really weird. He hasn't played a game. The last game he played, according to this on SofaScore, is from November 15, then November 9, then November 2. That was in, it seems like, the league.
Hmm.
Um,
I had seen that get mentioned.
so he hasn't played since November 15. I don't know what I'm just not familiar with the how the Argentinian league works,
Hmm.
but that's a long break. That's almost 2 months ago now, like just a few days away from 2 months ago. And then before those three games that I mentioned on the 15th, 9th, and 2nd of November, there was a U20 World Championship where he was representing obviously Argentina U20, and that was December and not sorry, not December, October and September. And then before that, okay, he was again playing for Godoy Cruz in the Argentinian league. But why is there 2 months? Why is there nothing in the second half of November, December, or the first half of January? I don't know. I just don't know anything about
I'm not
the Argentinian
sure.
league.
I'm not sure if he was sitting out because he wanted a transfer or if he got injured.
Oh,
I do know though that Argentina, like they're flipped. I think they're like right now for them, I think it's summer. Like I think they're under the equator. So I think their like
yeah.
whole thing
No,
in
you're
their
right.
seasons.
Because Godoy Cruz hasn't played since that November 15 game. So it's not that he was left out. They just haven't
Yeah.
played their last game. His club's last game was November 15, and their next game is February 7.
So they're in off season.
Huh.
Yeah, it's because I'm looking at Boca Juniors right now. Boca Juniors hasn't played since December 7th. Their next game is in 2 days, but that's a friendly. Before that, it was yeah, Boca Argentino Juniors.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they're yeah. So I'm assuming they're in their off season now because they are
Yeah.
flipped. Um,
And they did they fall down? They
I don't.
fell down. They fell down because they're
They're
not in the first
14th.
division anymore.
They're in 14th in the second if because this is saying Group A and Group B. So I'm assuming
That's the
Group
second.
B.
That's the second division.
They're in 14th place in second division. Godoy Cruz, right? Dude,
Yeah, but
they're
it's no, it's over. It's their season is starting in February.
right. Yeah, but
So
like they're
they sorry, I'm just looking at this now.
no, you're good. Yeah, they I think they finished this past season in 14th in the second division.
Hmm.
Godoy Cruz. This
Anyway,
is crazy. Draw, loss, draw, loss, draw. Their last five. I don't know. This is again, I can't judge a player off of where his team fully finished, but to finish 14th in second division Argentina and to demand that much cash, I'm a little bit worried.
it's
But
a yeah, it's a lot for a player who's not proven in Europe, but also not particularly proven in
Argentina.
in Argentina. It seems like he has 72 total games, 11 goals, 6 assists. Again, stats are not everything, especially when you're a winger. Like, it's
Right.
not as stat driven, but um,
Hmm.
yeah, that's 72 games, 11 goals is not, you know, or like, let's just say 72 games, 16 goal contributions is not a lot. So
No.
that's a lot of money for a player who, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like this as an investment because of his age, but you just can't be a fool and overpay. You can't. And
Yeah.
I feel like it was a lot closer to the 5 mil 50 to 70% rights rather than the 10 mil 75% of the rights, in my opinion.
Yes. Because I'm sorry, if I'm paying 10 million or over, for me, I want a player that's set. Like for example, I know that he's injury prone. A 10 million is like a player for me, like a Palistri, where like he was at Man United, he's played in Europe a little bit, like you kind of know what you're getting with him, versus a player like Andino, he's got a lot of question marks around him for me. And I'd probably, in terms of looking at him as an investment, I'm gonna try not to overpay for him because if I'm paying 10 million and he flops in Greece, I'm never seeing that money again, right? I've lost a ton of money. That's a big transfer.
There was a name that came up that's unrelated to us, probably, but I did mention it to you and the guys. Tony Fruk, he plays in Croatia. He plays for Rijeka. He has recently been put on the block. He's a number 10. He's 24 years old, and the reason I'm bringing him up is because his price tag is 10 million. His price
Mm,
tag is 10 million, and there's interest from the top five leagues, and he has 11 goals, so the same amount of goals as and Dino in 29 games, so almost in a third of the games. And they play similar positions. They're attacking players, but they're not the focal point of their attacks. One's a 10, one's a wing. So similar comparison there. Proven in Europe, he scored in Conference League, he scored in Europa League, and he is scoring almost one goal every other game in the Croatian league. That
yeah.
is, that is I don't want to say like proven, but he is more proven to warrant that 10 million price tag from teams in the top five leagues. Arsenal even is interested. But whatever. I'm not trying to go too deep into that. I'm just trying to compare kind of why one feels like a more reasonable price tag and the other one does not. Okay, Tony
Yeah.
Fruk is 4 years older than Andino. He's 24. Andino's 20, but again, there doesn't seem to be too much sense in that 10 million price tag for Undino when you compare it to other somewhat similar situations.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree. And the thing is with Rijeka again, I think they're also a team that I mean they're not Dinamo Zagreb or anything, but like they've also kind of, been known for having at least a solid academy. This Godoy Cruz, I mean, I don't think I'm not gonna lie, before this saga, I've never even heard of them. Uh,
Yeah,
of course, I
yeah.
know the big teams in Argentina, River and Boca and all them, but those are the teams that I think of when I'm thinking of like a good youth product. Racing Santander and them stuff like those teams, okay, but a second division 14th placed Argentinian team are asking 10 something million. To me, if it's true, this is like how the president wants so bad if it's true for him to go to River Plate. This is almost like, in my opinion, them telling Panathinaikos to F off. Like, just we don't want to do
He's
business.
probably just using his leverage, if I had to guess. Leverage
Yeah,
to put our price up.
that's what. Yeah, exactly. Like it's
Because
just
I
kind
don't
of like
River's not going to pay 10 million for him either, I don't think. So
no.
it's all just leverage to raise his price because if no one else is interested other than River and us, then his price is not going to go up.
Yeah,
So it's all leverage in my opinion.
yeah. He's not showing me anything to where he warrants 10 million plus.
Yeah.
That's to me. If we get and there's fans that are like really like they want this player so bad, and I'm like on paper to me it seems ridiculous to pay this kind of money.
Too much, too much. 10 million is too much. I would like him, but for the right
Me
amount of
too.
money. And like I said, I like that 4.5, 50 to 70%
Yeah.
more than I like uh more than I like the 10 million. If we want to retain more equity in him, if we are not considering less than 75%, let's say 75% is our least amount of equity that we want to give up in him, which I think is a reasonable ask considering his age and potential sell on. I would say that again, I don't know the metrics, but I would not go higher than 6 or 7 million for that 75% max.
Yeah.
Max. Like,
Six.
and that might be even too much, honestly. But
Yeah. That's yeah. I mean, I'll trust Corona and I'll trust Rafa. If they've picked him, then I guess they see something in it. But we've got to get the
I
business side right.
I trust him too, but it doesn't it's not difficult to see kind of what's going on. The River Plate situation is weird, like you said. Kind of the lack of blowing it away, at least on paper, in a not entirely great league. You can't go full in on that. And you can't get sucked into, leverage games of trying to up the price when at the end of the day he might not be worth that and probably isn't.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway, let's keep it going. We spent a lot
Yeah.
of time on Andino.
Kral is
I
the
think the
next one.
Kral is the next one. Yeah, Kral.
Yeah. Kral is a German midfielder. I keep seeing conflicting things. Some are saying he's a six. Some are saying that he's an eight. Um, Personally, I mean, I think it's a solid transfer. There's like, of course, there's Panathinaikos fans that are, wanting like some big name. Just like with the whole goalkeeper situation. Kral is, I think, 27 years old. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, he's not German. He's Slovak. I kept thinking he was
No, he's Czech. He's Czech
he's
playing in Germany.
that's what it is. Yes. And I mean, he's played in Germany, he's played in Spain. He's played for West Ham United again, and he hasn't played many games for them, but his resume isn't bad at all. I mean, he's in a prime age, 27 years old, about to be 28 in May. Um, Here he's listed as a defensive midfielder, which is interesting to me because okay, if he is, let's say he is a defensive midfielder, that kind of slots him into where Maximovic was. Um, okay, I mean, not
That's
too
how, that's
bad.
kind of how I view him, like kind of a
Yeah.
Maximovic type. Because there was a lot of debate also with Maximovic. Is he a six? Is he an eight? Then
Yes.
he came out, made a comment like, I like playing the eight, yada yada yada. I kind of view him though as that Maximovic, like could go both ways, but I think we would see him more in the eight, I would say.
Yeah.
And I do like this a lot, actually. I think this is actually quite good. And I think one big thing is that age that you said, because, we're always talking about getting younger. If we can't get younger, like 22, 3, you want players that are still either in their prime or right before their prime. You don't want past the prime, right? And
Right.
the past the prime is those 30, 31, 32, 33. Those are the past the prime. And that's what we want to stay away from. Like you said, the guys who are rumored, the left back who is rumored who is 30, who doesn't play Valencia. Like, no, you stay away from that. You stay away from that. That's past your prime, and that's a disaster waiting to happen. But any like 27 and before, that's good because you're not regressing yet, you know,
Right.
and that's what you want. So I like this, and I think he fits, I think, kind of what we need in that mid. Um, yeah, he's a tall guy, 186.
Yeah.
Um, that's 6'3", 4-ish.
Six. Yeah.
So
He's yeah, and I think he played a good amount of games last season for Espanyol in La Liga. So he yeah, I mean the guy has a solid resume if you ask me. He's not again like okay, for example, the guy from Valencia, right? That guy never plays, but because he played for Valencia, the fans are gonna go crazy, right? We sign a
right.
guy that on West Ham United on the reserves, the fans are gonna go crazy. This guy's actually playing games, like
Yeah.
in solid leagues too. It's not like he's playing for like really crappy like low level leagues. He's actually playing in top leagues for decent team. Espanyol is a pain in the ass to play. Like they are not, they're not a Barca, but they'll give a Barca a hard time. They'll give a Madrid a hard time. Um, Union Berlin again. I mean, I've watched Union Berlin play a few times against Bayern. And they give Bayern a run for their money. Again, obviously nowhere near the same level, but their play style. So I can't complain. I'm actually if we can lock this down, I think that's pretty
Yeah.
good. And we can see like Maximovic, we sold him and we all said it after. dude, like not that we regretted it, but he was clearly a missing piece, like at the start of the season. Like the money was good, right? We got a good amount of money, but then we had a hole in the midfield. So
Yeah.
he can possibly patch that hole up. I think I'm happy about it if we do get
And
him.
I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. I think, it's funny because the guys who are ultimately making this decision right now weren't there when we sold Maximovic, but I think they're identifying kind of that there was a before and after Maximovic, and they're kind of trying to patch that up, like you said, and get back a player who's going to be that Maximovic role, both on the pitch but also kind of bigger idea.
Right.
And I think that's what they're doing here. And I hope and I think we're gonna get this done because it looks like it was one of the ones that came out of nowhere.
Right.
And I know it's not done yet, but it came out of nowhere. And the way it came out of nowhere was like, all right, we're close to it. It wasn't like didn't like do the escalating up and down like bullshit. It came out of nowhere and we're like, oh, we're pretty close to this already. So I think we're gonna get it done, and I think this is good.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It was like, yeah, exactly. Because normally when it escalates, it's like, Panathinaikos is interested in this player,
Yeah.
and then it drags on for weeks.
Yeah.
So,
And by the way, 48 caps for Czechia. So
yeah,
really, really good. Czechia is obviously a pretty respectable um, uh, national team. They're in I think they're in the World Cup playoffs. They finished
yeah,
second in Croatia's group. They're respectable. They're always good in Euros. They're like obviously that typical Euro team, not so much in the World Cup, but very respectable national team. So to have about 50 caps for them at 27 years old is I think you know very respectable for him too.
definitely. Yeah, 100% solid. Um, let's see. So yeah, transfer wise, those have been really the big names that we've been kind of linked with. Can you think of anybody else?
The only other one that came out was there was a mild Swiderski rumor.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember. I don't know if you remember that one. That
yeah,
was like a week ago, maybe
yeah.
plus 1 to 2 weeks ago, where it was said that our price tag for Swiderski, doesn't seem like we're actively shopping, but it came out that the price tag is like around 8 million.
Right.
Um, which we had actually, I don't remember, it was at least me and you on the pod. This was months ago. Maybe it was Alki too, but we had picked him out months ago that he could be a potential name in the winter because of how well he was doing and kind of his age, and just kind of it felt like all the pieces were maybe falling into place for him to be sold. We said that before anything came out, but
Right.
regardless, recently it's kind of been heating up, and I think it's more of that, like kind of his output in Europe. It's kind of like a sell high situation.
Yep.
Um, his output in Europe, his age is still good. He's still 28, so he's in that prime, and yeah, all those pieces kind of coming together. But obviously, the piece that didn't come together is the fact that Dessers got injured. So that's kind
Yeah.
of what I think. If Dessers remained healthy, Swiderski would have almost likely left this winter. Probably not for 8 million. I think the eight
Yeah.
million is a result of we're not desperate now, right? Like
Right.
Dessers goes down. We already said that our striker hierarchy now is Tet in some order. I'm not saying this is the order, but Tete, Swiderski, Badovic until
Mhm.
Dashers comes back. So you sell Swiderski, now you're left with two until Dashers comes back. Big gamble, big gamble. So I think that 8 million price tag is a reflection of the fact that we're not looking to sell one of our three current strikers. But if someone's crazy enough to pay that premium 8 million, he could be on his way. And I think we would probably take a chance with two strikers until Dashers comes back in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big gamble. It's a big gamble.
Definitely is a big gamble. I think, like you're saying too, I don't think he's probably going to stay put.
Yeah,
Unless
I
the
agree.
chance that, somebody does match that offer where it's like, okay, you'd be stupid not to take it.
Right.
He's realistically, like we're saying, he's probably going to stay. One thing I also actually remember while you were saying that too is I saw a rumor about Bakasetas like a week or two ago as well that we would be open to like moving him to like
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia or like him basically getting a payday.
Yeah.
Um, Personally, I mean, look, if they offer us a good amount of money again, I'll take it as well. But I actually like Bakasetas. I think he's a good captain. He's not, of course, lighting up the entire world, but I just like it. He's Greek, captain, can kind of mentor some of these other Greeks on the team. Um, if a low offer comes in, I'd rather keep him, honestly.
I remember that Baca news, and I'm a little less hot on Baca than I think some of you guys are. And I don't mean that I'm not like low on him. I'm just like
Yeah.
I think he has some drawbacks, but I think he has some good positives too. Like you said, Greek, kind of that not only captain but also that kind of leader figure where he could mentor some of these young guys. I think that's obviously a big thing that he's got going for himself, other than the on pitch stuff. So I don't like you kind of said. I'm not running to sell him, but if an offer did come from Saudi, I think you let him go if it's decent money, especially at his age. Like how like he's 32, 33 now. Like you're not making money off of players of that age. And if you do, you take that as a huge plus.
Right.
So if an offer comes where you're making up, he's 32. If an offer comes where you're
Yeah.
making a profit on him and Saudi is going to pay Saudi money, then I do think you cash in because you're not likely to cash in at 32. He's going to be 33 in the summer.
Right. Yeah. So,
Um, so that's where I stand there. And I think if listen, if you lose Baca, then if you could get like 5 million for Baca, which that would be Saudi money because I know it doesn't sound crazy, but given his age, I think if you get 5 million for Baca, you first of all we have to look at what we have in house, and we have solutions in house that should be doing stuff. For example, Daborda, he's kind of a work in progress. I think he would be thrown into the mix really quickly if Bakasetas left. Of course, there's also Juricic and stuff like that. I'm not saying Taborda's the only one, but I think you'd have to also then look at bringing in a 10 for sure.
oh yeah,
And the 10 that I would want to bring in is the guy I mentioned before, which is Tony Farooq.
Tony
I
Fruit. Yeah.
think I think that would be huge. He's gonna cost, like I said, at least 10 million. But if you're making a premium, let's say on Baca with that 5 million, because he's not worth the 5 million, then you go with Tony Farooq, who is also an investment at 24 years old. He's got room to build, and he'd probably be with us for 2 years and then go to a top five league. That's like my long shot dream. I think he would be a really good solution. I think he's going to make the top five league jump now and not do the intermediary like Greek league, Turkish league thing. Anyway, that was a rant, but yeah,
Yeah. No, yeah, no, I think good points there. Yeah, if they give us a 5 million offer for me, I agree that that's good money for the player of his
yeah.
age. Like Maximovic, in my
The
opinion,
same, yeah, the same reason that we sold Maximovic. Exactly, you
yeah,
nailed it. You
I
nailed
couldn't
it.
be upset about that, because like at his age, right? Of course he was performing, but like man, 5 million, you're not gonna get that again next summer. Like
Yeah,
that, you
you
take,
nailed it with the Maximovic comp there. Yeah,
yeah, you
exactly.
you take that money. Like that's, so yeah, if they come up with 10, sorry, with 5 million, we gotta accept. I mean that's no
Yeah.
brainer, business wise. Awesome. So I think that's pretty much all our FC stuff. Lot there that we covered. Um, just kind of moving into BC. BC's been its own thing since we've kind of had a little bit of a break from the podcast. Last few weeks, Panathinaikos Basketball Club, just a lot of ups and downs. I remember when the last time the Americans were on, we were just going on about how Farid has really changed the team, and how things were looking a little bit differently. That he had kind of changed tides for us, and I remember us kind of talking about, was it one of those situations where it just papered over the cracks? Um, since then, Panathinaikos really has kind of unraveled after a loss against Olympiacos in the EuroLeague. That was the 10th straight loss against Olympiacos in the EuroLeague for Panathinaikos. So overall, it was just a weird game. Olympiacos started off really, really hot. And from there on, Panathinaikos kind of found themselves digging themselves out of a hole and fighting back. And mainly it was Kendrick Nunn that really had a solid, solid performance. We ended up losing the game. Part of it, in my opinion, was that we really expended a lot of our energy fighting back to get back into it. Um, Something that Adamin highlighted after is just how bad Juancho was and Mitoglu. I think Juancho had a donut. He had 0 points.
Both donuts, I think.
Both, yeah, they both zero
Maybe.
points. And we then went on to lose. I think we blew the lead against Milan, against Armani. We did come back and win against Bologna, but then I think it was yesterday, we lost, or Saturday, we lost or sorry, we won in the Greek
We
league, but
won. We won.
yeah, we won, but it wasn't a very convincing win. And we saw Ataman come out again and say, compared to our rivals Olympiacos, who won like 120 to like 83 or something like that, we won by like 10 points, but it was like Metozori. Like it was a
Not even single digits.
yeah,
Mezz'ori. We were down at half. We had let up 50 points at half in the Greek league. That's crazy. That's crazy. So like see what I'm at Mezz'ori, like 100%. Yeah.
yeah. He was pissed. Like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
not a good performance at all, and I don't blame him. Definitely he caught a lot of heat after the Olympiacos loss, and the Armani loss. It's just one of those things where I'm starting to think that Ataman, I don't want to say he's losing the locker room, but I think his ideas now are starting to, he's starting to run out of ideas because Ataman is a kind of coach where he's known as like the players coach. So he lets the players kind of dictate the game. Like he gives them freedom. So none's allowed to chuck as many shots as he wants. For example, Sluka's allowed to do what he does. Versus like a Barzoka, let's say Barzoka's very systemic. Like he's very systematic in how we're gonna do things, how we run this offense, and that at times causes him to butt heads with his players. You see it all the time. Ataman, in the other sense, you know, we see doubles, we see predictable offenses, we see things where like plays aren't really run the way that they should be, or we get figured out. That's why I think we lose a lot to Olympiacos. Barzoka's very good X's and O's tactician. Ataman, not so much, because Ataman makes an adjustment. Barzoka calls a timeout, makes an adjustment. We start getting exposed again. We always see it, and that's been a pattern even since the first season that we had Ataman. So I don't know. I am starting to think that Ataman, this is probably going to be his last year, because I just the tough thing is we have the Final Four in Oaxaca in our stadium, Telecom Arena, whatever it's called now. Um, I don't know. I just, as things stand, I don't see us winning the EuroLeague. Like we're not playing good basketball. We're too inconsistent. DPG is rumoring that we're gonna try to. Well, I don't want to put words in his mouth. He was rumoring that we're gonna get a big player.
Don't you dare put words in his mouth.
Yeah, yeah. Then we're gonna see an Instagram rant, but. Yeah, he was saying that he's going to get a big player, and then the basketball pages are saying that it's Nigel Hayes Davis. And then today there was a post that I don't know if Hayes Davis had posted this recently or if this was old, but he posted a picture of him packing his suitcases. And they're like, "Oh,
Mm.
he's flying to Greece so he can sign for Panathinaikos." I don't know. I don't know. I would love to have him, but also at the same time, again, it's like we should, with the squad that we have, we should be in first place. I think, in my opinion, I agree with DPG. I think we have the best player-wise squad in the EuroLeague, and we're not playing like it. Like, if we had Hayes Davis, is it just another thing where it's like we're just adding more ammo to a gun that's not firing good? Like, I don't know. It's tough.
I mean, I think we do have the best. I I don't know. I don't want to say the best, but we do have definitely like probably a top three squad. But we still
Yeah.
have big holes, and it's what you were kind of said in the beginning. I think Fareed, and the hole is actually Lasor because everything after Lasor has been a band-aid solution. Gabriel was a band-aid solution. He would have a good game, but he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't Lasor. That's a no shit statement, but he just wasn't. He wasn't the solution. Band-Aid. Fareed, same thing. He came in and we got on here and we were like, yeah, we were missing that center, like that paint presence, rebounding, huge help. And he was like, to be fair, like the first five-ish games that he was there, like we won all those, and you could tell stats wise and on the court how much of an impact he had. But again, in when you like extrapolate it, big picture, more than those 5 games, because now it's been a few months. Band-Aid solution. Like it's feeling kind of like Gabriel to me. Gabriel Fareed, it's the same Band-Aid to fix the Lasor problem, the Lasor lack of. and it's just not it. And again, I'm not saying like you're gonna find the Lasor, because like what Lasor brought to the table was almost unfindable given where like the player pool in EuroLeague, but you're trying to get as close to that as possible to make that hurt less. And Farid and Gabriel are just not getting close enough. And I think that's where I'm like, yeah, I think we do have one of the best squads, but we still have this glaring hole that we haven't been able to solve since about a year ago now.
Yeah,
Because it was a year ago that he got injured, right? It was
over now.
around over a year ago,
It was, I think it was last December.
last December. Yeah, so a year plus, and
Yeah.
we've been trying to solve it since then, and we just haven't been able to. And I think, unfortunately, that's what's holding us back right now.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely think that more so this ties in like I think Rashawn Holmes has been more again he just came back from injury to be fair, right? But I feel like defensively we're not as good with Holmes when he's playing versus like Farid. I think Farid is a pretty solid defender. He's a rebounder, shot blocker. Holmes has been a bit of the guy that's we've been struggling with at center. And it's like Lasor coming back I think would 100% help. Um, but beyond that, it's just like I defensively, like I don't like the way that we're set up. Like I always bring it up, like we double teams way too much. Like if you look at how we gave up such a huge lead against Olympiacos, we just their shooters just went off. It's always a shooter going off. Like whenever we play, it's some guys having a career night, and that night it was Dorsey. Mind you, Dorsey was hitting some insane shots,
Yeah.
but it's like we double guys, we double guys, we double. And it's like it comes to a point where obviously Adam is seeing it too, but it's like if we keep doing it, like you've got Jerry and Grant going and collapsing towards their one of their guys driving. Then we have another guy collapsing and driving, and then they have a 3-point shot. And then on the other end, they kept using Milutinov to pull Farid outside from under the basket, and that left them open to just drive every single time. We never adjusted. Like we made one adjustment, and then again, Milutinov pull Farid away from the basket. Milutinov there's just always like a decoy running, and we just leave it either open for a lay-in, or we double their guys, and then they're open on the 3-point line. So it's like defensively, this team is just really, really bad. Talent wise, we're good. Defensively, we're bad. And again, like with the TJ Shorts thing, to his credit, he's been playing good. But defensively, it's like we already struggled defensively and we added a TJ Shorts in. Like that just didn't make sense to me. And then on top of it, um, our guards already don't really play defense. Like Nunn's not really known for his defense. He makes up for it with his offense. Sluka can make some smart plays, but again, he's like 35. Like,
Mostly Grant.
yeah, Grant's your guy. And it's like, even then, like we bench Grant a lot because we start Nunn and we start TJ or we have some offensive thing going on. It's like I don't know. I don't know. It's definitely been frustrating. I know that DPG came out also like the next day or like a couple of days later and he talked to the team. Supposedly somebody was like out drinking or a couple of players were out drinking like a couple of nights before the game. Like it was like a whole like I don't know. It was on the news or not on the news, but on those basketball sites. I don't know how true.
Exacto.
Yeah, whoever was drunk, I don't know, but it's like, dude, I don't know. This team is weird. It's like super weird. I feel like the way that we're going, this is just my prediction. I think Sturge is the same way. I think what was gonna happen, let's say we do land Nigel Hayes Davis. I think if we don't win or make Final Four, whatever, Ottoman's gonna leave, and I think we're gonna bring Shadas
Mhm.
in from Fenerbahce because he's also super close with Nigel. So um, I don't know. I don't know. Summer's gonna be really, really interesting, but right now it's not really looking good. I know that we have a EuroLeague game coming up this week
It's
um,
Bayern.
against Bayern. We should be able to
Yeah.
win against Bayern. They did fire their coach recently. They brought in the old Serbian head coach, older guy. They just lost Spencer Dinwiddie as well. He left. So realistically, this Bayern team is not at their best, right? They got a coach that Some people are saying maybe it wasn't the right choice. They lost their star player. Um, Panathinaikos is kind of on this weird mode where it's like they need to get it together. So this should be a must win for sure,
Yeah.
or this
Yeah.
should be a win. One thing I do have to say, I do have to give. I don't want to be all negative. I think Osman's been amazing this season. Osman's been really, really good. Nunn has been good. Um, so here's just hoping Juancho and everybody else and all the other guys that got called out. Hopefully they have a better game. I know Juancho did have a good game against Bologna. So we'll see. We'll see, man.
And we say this
Hopefully,
every year. We say this every year, but it's so close, man. Like we are just one win off of first. I know
yeah,
we're two losses behind, so it's technically not one game behind first, but it's super close. Like 14 first to 9 is 14 to 12 wins. Like it's just
right.
super close. And we say it every year, but that is just the nature of EuroLeague. It is super balanced. And I'm not saying we're aiming for first, but the higher you get, the better it is for obviously, the playoff situation. So it is super close and everything is still to play for because we still got quite a few games. We got like 15 games ish, right? We've played 21 and we go to 38, right?
Yeah,
So we still
yeah,
got over 15 games. So there's a lot to play for and it's super tight.
yeah, yeah. We've got I think Final Fours in May,
Yeah.
late April, early May, something like that. So we still got some games to play. Yeah, it's just gonna be interesting. Just the style of play. Record wise, again, yeah, we're not because we did go on that run when Farid came in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh Play wise, it's just like the something's just not right. And for me, and I know you mentioned as well, like with Lasora, it's just defensively, something's not right with this team. And that's what we're gonna need if we want to make it to Final Four, which again, this has to be
You have to, dude. You have to in your own home, and it's going to be a huge. I mean, honestly, not winning it is going to be a huge failure, but no Final Four is going to be a huge failure. Also, like it's just
yeah.
you got to in your own home. Like recently renovated Oaxaca, good team on paper, historic team. Yeah, it's just I can't even think about it really.
We have a guy, for example, we have the current MVP, right? We have Kendrick Nunn. We have a guy that was in the top three MVP voting on the team as well with Shorts.
Sports.
Like, we got Holmes. He just played in the NBA, right? We have ex NBA guys, Osman and Juancho. And I'm not the kind of guy that will be like, this is a failure, this is not. But this literally, like, it's literally win or bust. We need to win this championship. Like, it's in Oaxaca. You need to win it. God forbid Olympiacos wins it. Like,
The team and DBG tried so hard to get it in Oaxaca because now there's so much competition to get the
yeah,
venue, right? Like now it's not easy. Like I know it's been in Athens before, and it will be in Athens again. Like it's not like the
yeah,
last time, but now there's just so much competition to get the venue, especially when they're doing stuff like in fucking Dubai, right? Or Abu
yeah.
Dhabi, sorry. So
Abu
like
Dhabi, yeah.
there's more competition. It's only going to become more. It's become such a money game for them. So we don't know when it's going to be in Athens next. It will be, but we don't know, and it's not going to be often. So you got to take advantage of this opportunity that DPG and the team tried so hard to get it done. And it would just feel like such a wasted opportunity to not to let it go through our fingers.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think, well, you're saying that, I'm thinking last time, I think it was 2011, was it that we had it in Athens, or was it, I think '09 was Berlin.
11 was
I think
Athens.
11 was Athens.
Yes, I think you're right. Um,
'09 was Berlin, I believe.
I'm trying to get that up really quick.
Yeah, so it's been like, what, 15 years? So it's like, who knows when we're gonna ever get it again in Athens, especially with like Abu Dhabi and we got the Dubai team now. Like, it's gonna go where the money is.
No, 11 was Barcelona.
Oh, it's Barca, huh? So was it
Athens was
'06?
Athens was '07.
'07. Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah. That
Okay,
was the
so
last
it's
time I was in
been
Athens. So that's
almost
been
20
almost
years.
20 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost 20 years.
So yeah, this is like yeah, we're it's gonna be a while till we see that again. So we really need to try to get it together. Hopefully the team does. The team has winners on it. Like this, a lot of guys that won the EuroLeague a couple years ago were on this team. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Um, that's all I've got. Did you have anything else you wanted to add in?
No, that's I think we covered a lot. It was chatty. It's kind of the nature of the transfer rumor mill, but it's
Yeah.
chatty, but I think we said a lot of good stuff about yeah, there was it's weird. The FC is like it's kind of down just because of the situation, like, bad performances in like obviously the most recent one was good, but in the long long scope, it's kind of bad performances, but it's also kind of exciting in a way. I don't know. I feel kind of
Yeah,
conflicted
no, I
about it.
get you. Yeah, I like there you see that like a plan is being put in place for FC, whereas like
Yeah.
the basketball side, like it's kind of like it's more frustrating because we should be winning stuff. That's what's like making it
Yeah.
more stressful. Like we shouldn't be struggling this much. So yeah. Awesome, Alex. Great as always having this episode. If you guys aren't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram at PAO Fans International. We're also on Twitter. We're also on YouTube, and then we're also on Spotify as well. Thank you guys as always. We're signing off for now. Next time will be the Australian crew. See you guys.